Welcome back to your Prevailing Moment and our ongoing devotional series, Winning After Being Wounded. I'm your host, Dr. Samantha Wilson Murphy, and today we enter one of the lesser talked about yet compelling stories in Scripture, the story of Tamar. This narrative is sandwiched between Genesis 37, where Joseph is sold into slavery, and Genesis 39, where Joseph is in Potiphar's house. The writer is breaking from telling a major story to pivot to what else is going on at that time, which is where we are captivated by the story of Tamar in Genesis 38. Now, this isn't Tamar, who was King David's daughter. No, this is Judah's daughter in law. Judah, if you remember, is one of the half brothers who threw Joseph into a pit and sold him into slavery. Now, Tamar's story is raw, messy, and layered with controversial cultural nuances that conflict with our current cultural norms. You can only make sense of this story by understanding the customs of that time. But let's be real. Many of us have experienced raw and messy lives and might be in something messy right now. Tamar's story has a good ending, though. She wins in the end. Her ending reminds us that even when people forget you, overlook you, and fail to fulfill their promises to you, God never does. He is faithful and He is a promise keeper. Our focus verse is found in Genesis 38, verse 26. It reads, "She is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah." Let me provide a quick summary of what is happening in Genesis 38. Judah leaves his brothers and settles near a man named Hira. He marries the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua and has three sons, Onan, and Shelah. Judah arranges for his firstborn to marry a woman named Tamar. Is wicked before the Lord, so God puts him to death. By custom, Judah tells his second son Onan to produce offspring for his brother with Tamar. Onan deliberately avoids giving Tamar children, and God strikes him dead as well. Judah then promises Tamar that she may marry his youngest son, Shelah, once he is older, but he does not keep this promise. He was afraid that God would kill his only son. After Judah's wife dies, Tamar decides to disguise herself as a prostitute and strategically positions herself in Judah's path, fully anticipating that he will approach her. Judah, not recognizing her, sleeps with her and promises a goat as payment, leaving his seal, cord, and a staff as a pledge. When Judah later tries to send the goat, Tamar cannot be found. Well, 3 months later, Tamar is reported to be pregnant. Judah, not knowing he is the father, calls for her to be burned. Can you believe that? Do you see the hypocrisy? Well, Tamar reveals Judah's seal, cord, and staff, proving Judah is the father. At this point, Judah admits she is more righteous than I, since he failed to give her Shelah as promised. Then Tamar gives birth to twins Perez and Zerah. Listen, I have said it before. Who needs soap operas or Lifetime when you have all this drama in scripture? Tamar was left as a forgotten widow, living in shame with no children, effectively cut off from her future. Have you had people betray you with broken promises? Well, Tamar's story in Genesis 38 shows us how someone deeply wounded by betrayal, injustice, and neglect can still overcome and step into God's plan. God sees the women who are sidelined, silenced, and forgotten. And sometimes boldness is the breakthrough. Tamar had been lied to, left out, pushed aside. She had every reason to fold under the weight of betrayal. But instead of bowing to despair, she stood in determination. And in the end, Judah, her accuser, her oppressor, opened his mouth, and the only words he could find were words of confession. She is more righteous than I. Now, that, my friend, is victory. God can give us a winning season even when we are at our lowest point and after others have betrayed us and failed to fulfill their promises to us. Tamar's actions, though controversial in every way, resulted in victory. So, what lessons can we glean from Tamar? Well, first, betrayal doesn't cancel God's purpose. Tamar was betrayed repeatedly, first by Er's wickedness, then by Onan's selfishness, and finally by Judah's broken promise. Yet she did not give up her hope of carrying her rightful inheritance. Next, refused to accept defeat. Tamar could have resigned herself to a life of shame and childlessness. Instead, she acted with boldness to claim what was due to her. Winning after being wounded often means refusing to let pain define your future. God sees human injustice. That's the next point. Though Judah failed her, God vindicated Tamar by exposing the truth. Our wounds may come from others' failures, but God ensures no wrong goes unseen. He has the final say so. And next, redemption can come through broken places. Tamar's wounded story became the avenue for God's redemption story through Perez, the ancestor of David and Christ. What feels like a wound in our lives can become the place for God's greatest work. Next, your identity is not in your wound, but in God's plan. Tamar was first seen as a widow, barren and shamed, but God remembered her and gave her a name in the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew 1, verse 3. No matter how deep the wound, your destiny in God still stands. Tamar teaches us that winning after being wounded means holding on to God's purpose, even when people fail you. She turned her pain into a pathway for legacy. Sometimes winning doesn't look polished. It can be messy and miraculous. God has a way of turning the very place of your wound into the very platform for our win. So don't despise the wound. God is writing your victory through it. And when it's all said and done, somebody's going to look at your life and have to say, she was more righteous than I. Until then, remember, you were never meant to break, you were meant to prevail. I am Dr. Samantha Wilson Murphy, and this is your prevailing moment. If this message blessed you, please like and share it with others and stay connected with Prevailing Woman Ministries by subscribing to our YouTube channel, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you all.